is Home Gallery Spotlights, and I'm April Rodriguez, and I'm here with co-host Anthony Tamayo.
What's up, y'all?
And Petey Salcido.
Hello.
And today we're talking to Pico Rivera natives, Los Changos.
Hi.
Would you mind introducing yourselves and telling us what your role is in the band?
I'm Leo. I play guitar.
I play guitar as well. My name's Jason.
I'm Yasmin and I play the keyboard.
I'm Edwin and I play the bass.
I'm Miguel and I play the drums.
Nice. How'd you guys come together as a band?
Well, a long time ago, there was this band called the Nebula Narcs. A lot of people knew the Nebula Narcs. And over time, it kind of disbanded because the lead singer went to a different state. So we decided, oh man, at this time, I was like, we're barely getting more into ska from Nebula Narcs, and we wanted to do more ska. I told Edwin over there, he was the first person I texted him, you know what? I want to start a band again. And I was like, and I really wanted to start a band again because it sounded like a good idea, especially I wanted to get in contact with new people. So I told Edwin, I was like, we should make a band. It should be called Ska Sin, you know, because at the time it was like ska core in East LA and stuff, and we liked that music a lot. So I was like, well, mainly me. Edwin was like, you know, he's more into jazz and stuff. But I told him we should make this thing called Ska Sin. He was like, for sure, and we made this little picture with a little pig, and he drew the logo. At the time, it looked cool, and after I told my brother, I was like, you gotta join, man. We need a drummer. Because at the time we were just guitar and bass.
So you two are brothers.
Yeah, that's my
Miguel
brother right
and
there.
Leo.
His drummer.
You guys look alike. I can see it.
Now that you say it, hey, wait a minute.
That's my sister too.
No way. No way. Oh
that's
my
cool.
gosh.
Yeah, that's a
Super
trust family
cool.
in a band.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I love that. That's awesome.
That's a new Salinas.
Then I told my brother, I was like, I told Miguel, let's do this, and he was like, all right. So he did this logo, and I'll put a picture up, but he drew this logo, and I literally went to the mall and printed it out, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So a long time ago with Nebula Narcs, we ran into a couple people called by the name Girl Parts. You can take it off, Jason. That's your part. About how Girl Parts
He goes,
came
Girl
together.
Parts.
Yeah.
Well, that's just playing shows throughout our community here in Los Angeles, and we played numerous shows with, I guess, the former band, Narcs, and whatever else they had going on. There was a lot of stuff we were playing, so it was developing into, I guess, more ska-sounding, reggae-ish, very sublime-oriented music.
Nice.
So that's what my band was doing, and then we disbanded. Or it's not really disbanded, we just stopped.
Went different ways.
Yeah, stopped playing shows is what it is. Yeah, just doing our career stuff, doing our jobs.
Yeah.
So I still wanted to play music, and we still, have to keep doing creative things, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah, I made the effort to just be annoying and bug this guy to play music, because that's...
It really seems like there's someone you started a fire and then you just caught everybody else on fire. You're like, we're gonna do this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So just supporting the friends right here and being helpful with the homies,
Yeah.
So we just made music right here, and then where our band expanded from that point. So I don't know where else to go from right here.
Yeah.
Just one show at a time, I suppose.
Yeah, I went
definitely.
one show at a time.
So what are some of your major musical influences?
For me, it would have to be I like Carlos Santana a lot, so I like that, and I like what else? I used to listen to a lot of rockabilly. I used to do the greaser stuff, and I kind of like adding little bluesy stuff into the ska, little blues solos, because it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, me just reggae and ska stuff. Marley.
Nice.
and jazz. The old stuff. The old stuff.
We like some jazz too, man. Like no lyrics necessarily needed, just some
like
real
Charlie Parker, Miles Davis, Coltrane.
Yes, Miles Davis.
Yeah, but everybody else has different tastes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just like got in the band just like kind of like a joke. I was like, oh guys, like let me join the band because I used to go with them just like every show and just sit there and just like listen to their music and stuff. And then they were like, oh, you serious? And I'm like, I don't know how to play anything, but sure. And then I just got in. But
And so you're the keyboardist, right?
yeah, and then I play the guitar for some songs.
That's
Nice,
awesome. So you
nice.
must have some musical influences.
Well, I don't know.
Like Ray Manzarek. That's the
Oh,
first one
yeah,
that
yeah.
comes to my head when I think keyboard. I was like, that
Yeah,
dude
he's
is
like extreme. He's
yeah,
like,
yeah. On the bass
It's
and
crazy,
the piano,
yeah.
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 His brain like works real differently than ours.
He's crazy.
Yeah, but he was classically trained, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think only 2 of these guys are classically trained, or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just like learning stuff, just like still.
Nice.
But there are those people who, even though they're not classically trained, are
Yeah.
still.
And watch
Yeah.
this time next year, you're
I
gonna be
know.
like, you know.
Everybody learns differently, you know.
My musical influence, I'd say, started like within like metal, thrash stuff.
Nice.
That's where I first started, and then I started to grow into different genres and stuff. Started with jazz and jazz ensemble in high school,
Nice.
and then from there I joined, the Narcs, and then out here, and from there and on out, yeah, it was just, I don't know, an influence, I'd say. Man, that's hard.
Well, I wanted to ask, like, what's one of your favorite metal bands? Like, what's the first one that comes to
He's
to
got
your
too
mind?
many.
Too many.
No, probably Suffocation. You know them?
Okay.
You know them?
No, I don't. No.
Anyway,
Death metal, like what?
That's death metal.
Nice.
Straight up just brutal death.
Oh.
Anyway, influences. Talking about my bass influences. Probably number 1 would probably have to be I don't know, James Jamerson. He is a monster on the bass. The Motown recordings. He did a lot of that. Marvin Gaye,
James
Stevie
Jamerson.
Wonder. Yeah. Him.
Oh, cool.
And then number 2, I don't know, Jacko. Yeah, Jacko Pastorius. He plays wild. He's wild. No one could lay a finger on him. He's
Nice.
crazy.
All over the bass.
He's all over the bass, man. He's all over it. Yeah, it's just jazz and metal. It's literally
Nice.
it.
Good
Jazz
combo.
and metal, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Pretty much kind of seemed like him, basically starting off from like metal and then death metal. Honestly, like the only reason I got into ska and reggae is from playing in this band.
I see.
And
Really?
then the Narcs too. Like when I was back in the Narcs, I honestly,
He hated it.
we made good music, but it wasn't really my taste.
I see.
Yeah, we were in the
So
same
like I
boat.
got
I
out
see.
for a bit. I got out, and then I got back in, and then like we started like progressing our music. And I'm like, oh, all right, like I could check some of this stuff out, so I could be keeping up with this. I got to practice, a whole bunch of other new beats, all of that good stuff. And then that's when I got into ska sin, and I started practicing, just basically keep practicing my inspirations.
How do you feel about the music you play now? Are you more?
Yeah, I love the music.
Oh yeah.
I grew into it actually.
I see.
Reggae and ska.
What a brilliant way to broaden your horizons
Yeah.
too, just to actually submerge yourself in the music.
Like I'm hearing it like all around where I go.
That's cool.
We're basically now a part of the ska scene. So
Beautiful.
Nice.
there's
Nice.
gonna be reggae. There's gonna be ska, skacore.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Like even like it's the same thing because I'm an MMA fighter. So if you go from like MMA to just boxing,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's still fun. You got to just figure it out. You got to not kick.
Who are 3 artists you'd like to be compared to?
Oh, the Beatles.
There's one. There's one.
Yeah, I don't know what else.
I think like Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys because his story is just impactful. It really inspires me to like make more complex and better music.
I see.
In a way.
Basically, like any band that just comes together and like makes the music, like it all works like in together, and it's not difficult to
The Doors.
like change everything. Yeah, like the Doors, they have like a really good like.
They had a
thing
muse
going
with them.
on.
Yeah.
Like they just someone would hop on one instrument and then the next one would go on and then it'd go
And
on.
then
And
Jim's
it's
passed out now. And
so So it's a little like more difficult than that, obviously, but we come together and like we can make songs.
It's like telling a story almost.
Yeah.
Like everyone has their part to add and contribute to it. You guys also have another band member, right?
Yeah, our
Yeah.
singer Josh.
I see.
Yeah. Before Josh, we had another singer. Shout out to him. It was Angel Haragi.
Oh.
Yeah, he was in our
yeah.
band before, and he did when we had a show at Home Gallery, like at one of the Home Gallery events. He was singing and stuff. After time, things disbanded a little. But yeah, still he still gives us like a great like starting point, and if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't expand out to what we're doing now.
That's cool. Do you guys want to walk us through the creation of a song? How does that happen?
Honestly, I think it starts off with chords. Probably my brother
Yeah.
picking up some chords.
Yeah, I would just like play on the guitar and figure out what sounds a little good. Now it's a little different since I study music. I try to find more complicating chord changes and more things that sound more like harmonized. I go off of that, and if not, then I'll hum a tune. I'll hum a tune and think about how, like, in my process in my head, I'll put out the guitar part, then I'll put out like how the keys would sound, part for a trumpet or something, and then like a bass, and like kind of like put it together in my head.
So you come up with a little piece of everything, and then you kind of explain it to each person, and then they just go from there.
Like last night, me and my brother, I was making a little chord changes, and then Miguel came up with a bass riff, and we kind of came up with like a trumpet thing, and like it kind of goes off from like that. Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's cool.
Pretty much, my brother always, sometimes comes up with the material like before we go in the practice room, and then once we're there, that's when he like exposes it to us.
There's ups and downs.
Come to the layer.
Yeah. Sometimes like I'll come up with something and it won't be compatible for the band, or one of the members won't agree. But and after the day, like we could either make it better, or in a way we can make it sound better. And even if nobody likes it, we could always hop on a new idea.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. It's like no idea is too sound that you throw the band away instead of throwing the song away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we just build off each other.
You hear something and it's just like, oh, I can add something to that.
Yeah.
That's cool. What are some of the themes in your songs that you pursue?
From what I know, it's really the like having a youth kind of aspect or atmosphere to the lyricism that's in our songs, because it's what we're going through at the moment, I guess.
I see.
Because we're still trying to be, we're still trying to, well, at least me, I'm the oldest one, but it doesn't feel like it. But sometimes it does really do feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I could kind of see how we're just playing to our own feelings, or
Your own
what's-
theme.
what's happening in our lives at the current moment, I guess.
I see. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Personally, what do you feel that your music gives off, like the feeling, like to everybody else? Like when they hear it, they go, "Oh, this is for me."
I think when it came to like the ska-core scene, when I first heard it, I was like, okay, so the first part was like metal, and like I like some metal, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty hard. And then like I expected it to be like a metal band, so I never like knew what I was never exposed to ska-core at the time. I knew ska, but simple ska, But I'd never been exposed to like the LA scene of ska-core, and when I heard it, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then like when it busts out with like that inner, like that little breakdown into the ska, like it was so cool, and the bass like pumped. I never heard a bass so intricate, and like it really made me think like, damn, this is really cool. And
So in a sense, Scott chose you then.
in a way, yeah.
That's cool.
What's the most fun song to play together?
Cumbia.
Changos.
I don't know.
That's a cool song. Yeah, I like that one.
I honestly think cumbia, just because it's like one of our
Like,
complex songs, one of our most complex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cumbia is like a smooth one. It's a very fun one. It just, it's like silk almost.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's really cool because like even when like we play punk shows, and and there isn't like any like Chicanos out there or anything like that, like and they don't understand what we're saying, like sometimes they'll still like party to it. They'll really dig it, like
They'll boogie to it.
Like, you know?
It's just really jumpy music.
Yeah, really jumpy music.
Yeah.
People love it, yeah.
No, it's definitely we were checking out some songs. You know, of course we've heard you play at our events before, but we were checking out the songs again, and we were like, yeah, this is, you know, it's fun. It is definitely fun, and you want to like move to it, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it's real different now.
Yeah.
It's real different.
Well,
think-
speaking of which, how has your music changed over time?
Changed a lot.
Getting more intricate, getting more complex, making more than just 2-chord songs.
Yeah.
3-chord, maybe 4-chord, maybe with the bridge, just maybe. People soloing more so, switching instruments like that cumbia song. He plays the keys, she
Yeah.
plays the guitar, so we like
Nice.
switching a lot. Or there's songs where we're adding trumpet, or somebody adds,
That's
you know,
nice.
like a horn, a saxophone. We have saxophone as well.
That's some diverse playing there, like you know,
Yeah.
kind of like a football team. Like
Yeah.
now you're gonna be quarterback, and now you're just like, man, those are championship teams.
Yeah.
You guys are a championship team right now.
Thank you.
And there has to be variety, I guess. Otherwise, it'll get
Stale.
Yes.
stale.
Yeah.
Sounds the same.
That's
Uh-huh.
cool.
I feel like when we first came into the band, it was like more like, you know, this is like ska, like this is ska core, and like, you know, it's really fun and stuff. And now like we're trying to add the same stuff, redo it again. We're gonna probably scrap everything and redo all our stuff again. But now I'm like, I want the band, and they're thinking the same way, that we're gonna do like stuff that's more complex, because now like we have like a basic understanding of what it is, and now we're thinking about more like things that will function together, more things that are more choreographed, I guess you could say. And yeah, so yeah.
It's awesome.
That's
It's like
cool.
you're taking your knowledge and expanding it to your community, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge in the music scene right now?
Not having a drum set.
You got to go up on that GoFundMe and
Offer up.
No, I think the biggest like downside to the music scene is like, you know, if like, and it's always gonna happen. So like if you're starting a brand new band, like, you know, you're gonna have to go through the process of like, you know, always being a first, you know, playing first, and you know, then ended up and then working your way up, and like we're not even like even close to like the bottom half, you know, and we're still working our way up there, you know, and that's why we're thinking of more complex songs, not only to like get up there, but to get like paid more, and like, you know, to actually make this like a more business aspect, but also an enjoyable aspect, you know.
Yeah.
something that you can make money off of and be passionate about, which
Yeah.
is the ultimate goal,
And
right?
do for a living. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
basically.
awesome.
Whatever work can pay
Yes.
your life.
Yes, exactly. Or you're working all the time.
That's
Definitely. That's you know, with any artist, it's the same thing. You struggle, even with us as Home Gallery, you know, we struggle to get people to come out to the events, and, you know, but slowly building, and like you
Yeah.
said, being in that position of not being the best can be hard for the ego, but if you just keep working at it, eventually you will be the
Yeah,
best, you know.
No, definitely.
Mhm. Yes, just as long as you don't quit and you keep going, definitely.
Yeah.
And one last thing, another hard thing would be communication between people or bands
Oh.
or
Yeah.
Yeah.
production teams between bands, or
Yeah.
with the venue, getting the right venue and talking to that venue so much, or just
Communication between other
communication,
people,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
the
it's-
business aspect.
It's community to community, as I've seen it. You know, like
Yes.
city to city. There's friends within that city, and you have to infiltrate that city.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes.
I see, to get into the shows and be able to be a part
Network.
of it. Yes.
Nice.
Network, they call it.
Yes.
Colonizing.
One more thing that like that I think is like a very big problem, and you guys will all agree to this, is there's a lot of people who throw shows, and like you know, sometimes they won't like organize it enough for it to like, you know, happen.
Pan
you know?
out. Mhm.
And you know, sometimes I understand like some people are scared if like a police come, and you know, and like that's you know, everyone can relate to that, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's some people who don't know how to organize the bands, and like, or like, you know, but it's also the band's problems sometimes, you know, they drop out, or like, you know, at last minute you have to find a band but no one wants to play, you know.
Yeah, on such
and,
short notice,
yeah.
definitely.
So I think like short notice bands like sometimes like short notice shows like that, like, you know, it won't be like as successful as it was planned like a couple days or a week before, you know.
We've definitely had that happen to us so many times. Bands dropping or bands coming late, or so you get to a point where you realize you have to start planning for all of that.
Just anticipate it.
Yes, yeah.
Like guarantee someone's gonna fall out.
Definitely. What is one of the best experiences you've had performing?
It was a big backyard house party, probably.
Yeah.
Friends. Friends were there.
It was-
The support.
Like most of Pico was there, probably.
Whoa,
A lot of people.
Not
Awesome.
most, but like, you know,
A lot of people.
It was
a lot of the scene.
I was like, you know, I want to throw a show in Pico. I want to make. I was going big, you know. I've never thrown a show in my whole life. I was like, I want to throw one of the biggest shows in Pico, and I was like, all right, let's do this. I communicated with my friend, and it was inside a community gate, so which was more like difficult to do, you know. And it was a nice
to get
house.
people in.
Yeah, it was a nice house.
Everybody had the number to get in.
Yeah, everyone did have the number to get in there.
Pound 144.
Some people were, I kid you not, some people were telling me they jumped the fence just to get in.
I had to jump the fence just so.
Yeah, like,
Just like, and I'm in the band. Yeah.
and there's like a big pool, so it was like a pool party too. So like, we had all these amazing bands play. At the end of the night, it was like so packed we couldn't let people in anymore. It was crowded. It was back-to-back people, so it was really cool and really fun. People were in the pool, you know. It was at nighttime, it glow, and it was really cool.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it was also the night of the
Yeah.
blood moon, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, it was on the night of the blood moon too. It was cool. Yeah, but I'm planning probably to throw the second one. So if
Nice.
anyone's gonna come to the second one, this is your advisement.
Two.
Yeah.
A couple people fell in the pool too.
Yeah, I know. Some people fell into the pool.
From the fence, yeah.
With your phones in your pocket.
That sucks.
I think the most serious thing that happened at that night, midway through a party, someone had a seizure, and we had to like. Actually, Angel helped him out, and like they had to take him home.
Oh my god.
And everyone was like, "Oh my god, like this just happened," like, you know. So, you know, sometimes you gotta be careful like with what you're doing, you know.
This
Yeah.
thing's really feeling our music.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's funny. Okay, what's the worst experience you've had performing?
Okay.
This one and Los Changos?
Also that one.
Oh, you could be either. I would
Playing
like.
for like nobody.
Oh.
Which one, like,
We've been there
which one,
before.
Madonna or,
I think
the Riverbed show?
South Central.
Oh, Riverbed.
That
That was like the worst show.
That was the worst.
Worst show
Riverbed.
In the riverbed.
There's
There's
a
a,
Pico?
yeah,
Oh shit.
there was a show in the
Southgate.
Riverbed. It was in Southgate? Was it?
In the riverbed.
It was in the
Really?
riverbed, but like, you know, it wasn't the people's fault. It was more like, they told us to come down like into the riverbed, and Jason and me and Miggs and Edwin and everybody had this excruciating, terrible time just bringing all the equipment down
We had
from
to
up the
literally
parking lot
push it over the fence.
to
Like,
push it
high
over the
shit.
fence
Everything.
Big amps going over the fence.
to take it down all the way down
Fuck.
to get down to the show where they had a generator just to find out that the generator doesn't power our equipment enough.
Pretty much. And by the end of that night, too, we lost some of the drum pieces.
Oh,
Oh, that's so terrible. Oh my god.
That
Yeah,
sucks. Yeah.
shit. Sorry. I'm sorry
So
to hear
did you
that,
guys perform at all?
Yeah, we had to
we
borrow
did.
We
the
played,
equipment.
but we performed on these tiny amps where like the bass would be kind of like not that loud. My guitar amp was like little, so it was not that loud. You know, people still partied, but like,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
enjoyed themselves. Like,
Yeah.
Just keep drinking.
yeah.
Were there a lot of people there?
Yeah, there was a lot of people. I guess like there was a good amount. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, it wasn't like what we expected. Like, you know, especially with the generator, I thought like, you know, this was gonna power all of our stuff. And it was a pretty big generator, and then when like I plugged it in, I was like, my stuff's not turning on. And at first I thought it was like my equipment. I was like, this is not turning on. So like I told Jason, and he's like, my stuff's turning on, like, you know, and his stuff was turning on. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I looked at his voltage, and it was like less than mine. I'm like, you know what, Jason? I think that stuff's not powering our equipment.
No.
And then I was like, it's not turning on mine's either.
Oh shit.
That was terrible.
Yeah, that's
That
terrible.
was the worst.
Yeah.
What's the best feedback you've heard from a fan?
When that guy wanted to join our band.
Aw.
Ooh.
He's in our band right now.
Oh,
man.
Josh? Oh, yeah, this guy, he came up to us and he was like, this guy came up to us and, you know, he came in a leather jacket and beanie and he was talking to me and he was like, hey man, you guys sound really cool. I really dig the vibes you guys are doing, you know. If you ever want a member, like, you know, let me know. And like, yeah, and then like, you know, one day I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna call this guy up and ask what he plays because I never knew what instrument he plays. Maybe he could play a horn, and then I was like really stoked for that. And he told me he could sing. You know, at the time it was just me and this guy singing. We told him, yeah, you could sing, man. Yeah, hop in. And then he came, and at the first time he was like a very intricate character. You know, he has a British accent. You know, so it's very like, you know, exotic in a way. Yeah, he speaks proper English. Yeah. He's a pretty cool character, and he sings really nicely. You know, it sounds like if he hooks up with like the right people and the right setting of music, he can
Go far.
He can go
I
far.
see.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the most important thing you've learned so far being in Los Changos?
Just to not give up on each other, I guess.
Yeah.
How to work together in a
How
group.
to work through with our music, you know, how to work with each other,
Yeah.
communicating. Because, like, sometimes we're just like, we lack.
It gets crazy.
Yeah.
Just like, but it's funny because it's like any other relationship you would have, even like a romantic relationship or with your family. Like you're gonna butt heads, and you have to learn how to communicate with one another to keep it together. You know?
And take those past lessons from your other bands, and then just like, okay, I remember this from the other band. I'm not gonna, bring that here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, like doing something so many times, you automatically learn stuff like that.
Yeah.
How do you deal with creative blocks?
There's never any. There's probably never any creative blocks.
Really? That's not something that you've come up against as a group.
Well, everything kind of just spills out on the table. You know?
Yeah. And
So
we
there's
just
no
put them
creative
together.
blocks, huh?
I guess.
Nice.
I think sometimes maybe we'll have a little problems with like writing the lyrics, and only because like the music's like so jumping around, it's kind of hard to jump onto the verse and like understand like or what we're gonna say. But at the end of the day, sometimes we figure out like what we got to do and what's our position.
Nice.
What do you see in the future for Los Changos?
I was talking to Jason the other day. We're talking about like redoing the band, not like as in our names, but like scrap everything, pick it up back together in the future, but start new, scrap up some old stuff and make it better than it was.
Nice.
So like a brand new like structure of it, and like one time I was like watching music videos of this band called Los Fabulosos Cadillacs. They're a really cool band. But, I was like, damn, their music's like, my brother was like, damn, their music's so complex, and it is really complex, and that's what I like about it, so I want us to, like, all get together and grow as a group, because we all have, like, talents, we all have potential, and it's really cool, especially, like, Jason, like, he's a really cool guitarist, he's way better than me, I'm barely still trying to learn how to hop on my saxophone, so I'm, like, still learning. This guy, he's a really cool drummer. Edwin, he's a monster on the bass, and even Yaz, like, she just barely hopped on the keys, and like she's already learning like everything she needs to know and stuff. So it's really cool.
That's really awesome.
Solid future for Los Chongos.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for young musicians trying to make it in the music industry?
Don't give up.
Just don't give up.
Don't give up, man.
Because once you give up, you have that mindset already, and then you're not gonna get anywhere because you're gonna have this like block in your head that you can't do anything when you could really do all this stuff if you really put your heart into it.
Especially, you would question your commitment if you just did it. Like if all of a sudden it's like, nah, it's not for me. Then question your commitment at that point.
Yeah, once you start doing that, it's over.
Yeah.
Don't think for a second that you're not gonna, at least
Yeah.
it a try, you know.
Mhm.
Like something's bound to happen sometime, you know.
Yes,
So just
yes.
You're gonna keep getting better the more you do it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
just keep going at it.
It's funny, like what I always think of, because was a teacher for so long, that you try to get kids to understand that, you know, just keep with it, keep trying. But you know, some things it just doesn't come naturally. They're just some subjects, and then obviously there are some that you just bloom in, you know, like and you understand what it means to work in a group and navigating group efforts, you know. You're not just throwing it away or not doing your part this time because you want if you're something you're passionate about. And I love it. This is awesome. You guys seem very serious about what you do and want to grow in it, and it's amazing.
It's all about the effort.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day.
Because if you
Hard
don't
work
have
pays
the
off.
But it seems more like family than fame for y'all. Like
Yeah.
it's more about legacy than
Money.
actual money. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Money hardly comes up like whenever.
Yeah.
we all need it. Yeah, we all need the money, but legacies is
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
If you could wake up with a new skill, what would it be?
Play guitar, probably.
That's cool, Steve. Still in the music world.
What would you wake up with, Jason?
I don't think I need one.
That's confidence right there.
I'd probably say know how to weld.
Oh,
that's cool.
That's a good.
That's
Don't look at that spark, man. Fuck your eyes up. That's from experience.
And I think if I woke up with a new skill, I would wake up with enough knowledge to pass my theory class, my next theory class. You know, it's hard. It's hard stuff. Like when I went in there, I was like, I didn't know what to expect. And when they showed me everything, and I had a basic understanding of it, I was like, now in like the next music theory class, I'm gonna go to theory 3. But like, man, it's like getting to like math. It looks like it's math at this point. It's just like, damn.
I didn't sign up for this shit.
Yeah. So.
That's funny. What about you? Yes.
Probably be like musically talented. Probably like play guitar, like Jimmy Page, or play the organ, like remaster it, or if it's not music, probably like be good at math or something.
Yeah. Which you would probably use to be better in music.
Yeah.
I still got math.
Yeah, me too.
Weld.
Not when it comes to our money, though, huh? For some reason, incredibly great at math. Your percentages are on and shit.
Where can we find you performing next?
Well, right now it's kind of hard. Not because, like, you know, everyone has their own, like, things going on right now. But mostly because we're trying to configure everything back together so we can start off fresh. And, you know, we already got a name in, like, East LA. Like, we'll be playing over there. Or, like, you know, sometimes we'll be playing all over, you know.
Yeah.
It's really rare we ever play in Pico. But when we do, it's kind of like, you know, this is where we started, you know. So it's really, like, humble, you know.
Yeah.
We started here from the bottom up. And now, like, you know, we're playing all the way out to, like, San Bernardino and like all these far places.
Nice.
It's really cool.
Nice.
So no shows yet in the near
May
future.
3rd.
May 3rd, maybe like May 3rd.
27th.
Oh, okay.
We were supposed to
27th.
have one today, but they canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
One of the struggles you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
You said April 27th and May 3rd?
Yeah. Yeah. Upcoming. Yeah.
Okay, you have to send us the flyer so we can post it up and
Yeah.
promote you
Definitely.
guys.
Definitely.
Any plans for 420 today, guys?
Work.
Word.
Yeah.
Like, I felt
Shit, it's a goddamn adult life. Can't enjoy 420 anymore.
Probably go home and sleep.
That's how you bless this day.
Sleep.
And where can we find your music online?
As of right now, you can go on like SoundCloud and just type in Los Changos.
We don't really have like updated music. We have some like our old stuff.
Yeah,
that.
but
On
the
like
plan.
YouTube, there's like
YouTube.
Los
Yeah.
Changos CA.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I had asked too. It's like if we can find them on YouTube, maybe we can use one of the videos.
There's
Yeah.
like
Put that
a
up.
couple clips of one of our shows that we had in Boyle.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 4 videos.
And they're more recent.
Yeah,
That's
that was
actually
like
the show that the singer, like, that's when we met him.
Oh, okay.
That same
Oh,
show.
funny.
Oh yeah.
So in that recording, he's not in there. It's just
Yeah, I'm not in
us.
there.
It's just us.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Jason singing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. We got something now.
Awesome. Well, do you have anything that you want to close this out with, or anything that we forgot to ask? Or
We're
forgot
Los
to-
Changos from Pico Rivera.
Well, thank you so much for having us
Yeah,
here.
thank you for
It's
having
like,
us.
it's really humble.
Thank you for coming out.
And
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And that's it for us this week, guys. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye.